Welcome to Bruno's MMA show. I am here once again today with the reckless Rico Tally, Street Beef champ.
Hey, what's going
Rico,
on,
how you
Bruno? What's
doing,
going
man?
on? Good, man. Good. How you been?
Good, good. Really tired, really tired. Newborn and all that on my side of things. So for a
Oh
few months now,
man.
but it's crazy. It's a crazy time, but the same for everyone.
Oh yeah, for sure. Especially with all this COVID, and everything going on. Just so much, just new stuff as far as like adjusting to life and just having to, because this is like the first pandemic in like the history of like the world has to go through. So there's so much new change and just trying to get acclimated to everything that's going on. So it's crazy.
Um, yeah, and of course, like everyone has an opinion, but then in the fighting world, when people have opinions, it's always like a strong opinion.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
gets
Yeah, for sure.
so okay. Let's see. You recently fought Carlos in the Street Beefs, but
Yep.
I
Yep.
couldn't notice it, and then you won, of course. But I can't help but notice it was not for the belt. So
Mm-hmm.
I was a bit confused by that one. Can you explain it?
Yeah, so like when I fought Carlos, originally I was under the impression I was fighting Turk, for it to be my first title defense, but because Turk has to do a rematch for Butterfly, so in that instance I didn't have a fight for like most of the day with all those fights that was going on for the day. So no, they weighed me and Carlos, and me and Carlos just happened to thankfully be the same way. So they just ended up making the match with me and Carlos, but they couldn't give him a title shot because he was new. He was new fighting in the yard, so they made it a non-title fight, and so they put us together, and then we fought, and yeah. So that match just came to be like a last minute thing. I was like, I'm with it. I came here. I'm ready to fight, man. I don't care. I'm just ready for whoever
Yeah.
it was.
Okay. So that was so that was Scarface was like, okay, so you gotta have one, at least one, before you can have the belt. Is that it? How does it work?
With Scarface, the whole rule is you have to win at least three fights or more to be considered, in line for a title shot. You know what I mean? But when I fought for the title and how I got it and I wanted it in one fight was it was in a tournament style bracket. So originally it was supposed to be eight of us fighting, for a chance to compete for the belt. But I happened to get
Yeah.
somewhat fortunate because out of the eight guys, only two of us showed up. So that's when I ended up fighting Black Lightning and ended up winning the title that way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, good thing you won. Otherwise, it would have been really confusing.
Yeah, yeah, it would have been like a list of like who's for the belt, but I got fortunate that day,
Yeah.
so I didn't have to fight more than one time. So I was like, all right, cool. When the fight, win the championship with one fight underneath my belt. Now I'm 3-0 and looking to defend my belt next weekend.
Yeah. One thing is clear: if we were ever to meet and roll together, I would be really careful with my neck. That's why I took from watching your fight.
Yeah, I'm like really hand hunting savvy. That seems to be like my go-to special for street beefs.
Yeah. Yeah. You like to go for that neck. I noticed. So so uh, here's the thing: we actually tried to set something up before your fight, but real life kind of got in the way. I mean, real life fighting is real life, but I mean, like other stuff outside the sport kept you busy because
Yeah,
you've been going on walks with everything that happened with the what do you call? Oh my God! I just had a French word stuck in my head right now. I'm French Canadian, so uh, the marches for Black Lives Matters and all that movement. So
yeah.
how has it been the experience of it for you?
So for the protest, because I actually been to a few myself. There's one in my hometown of Hobart, one in Lake Station near my hometown. Then there's one in Chicago, all within, like maybe a 20-25 mile radius. So I was able to attend all of them, and they actually all ended up being really peaceful. I was actually able to speak at one of the protests in my hometown. I spoke to the crowd and, just gave my ideal and my thoughts and my past experience as far as like the whole Black Lives Matter movement. And so I thought that was really cool to be a part of that and talk to people that have, that in a way I kind of been in their shoes and like experience as far as like racism, hatred, and disrespect and all that type of stuff, that's going on. So it was really like a life changing thing because I never in my life thought I'd be a part of something so moving and so touching to people that it can maybe just inspire one person to help them out a little bit. And then also too, I was able to march, with the different cities and march with them and walk with them, and talk with them, exchange ideas and networks and stuff like that. So it was a really, truly peaceful thing to be a part of. And I was happy, especially at my young age, I was able to, do something like that. So when I get older, I can look back and tell my kids like, hey, I did this, at this age, and I was able to accomplish this, in a small amount of time. So it's just like the little achievements like that are like small victories I can talk about for the rest of my life.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw, and it was one of those things where it's like this year is just so many things are happening, but at the same time, you get this feeling that there's things that are happening that are not easy, but maybe you get a feeling it might lead to. I have to believe that it'll lead to better things, right? Like the pandemic, like how unprepared people were in many ways, like what happened, like the police brutality and all these things. So to me, it's kind of like all these things are hitting us at once, but eh,
Yeah.
I have to believe that people are gonna wise up, right? That it's gonna lead to better things. Like I have to. It's just otherwise it's this crazy year for no reason, you know?
Yeah. I mean, with everything going on, like I said, I mean, really, you just have to just make the most of what's going on. You know what I mean? Because right now, I just see it just like as just like a whole bunch of adversities we have to, overcome in our life. It's just obstacles that are in the way for our end goal. Like, yeah, it's terrible, with everything going on that you gotta maybe wear a mask or that you can't go party or see your friends or go out to the bar and stuff like that. You want to that you want to do, but you can't do because of the risk of infection and possibly spreading it to others. But it's all just little sacrifices that way we can all hopefully get back better in our state and as a whole and our world as a whole can eventually open back up and we'll all be like in a better state of mind.
Yeah, yeah. It's been crazy. It's been a crazy year.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
so here's the thing, though, because now to go back to a street beast,
Mhm.
you have to defend it every 3 months. Is it? I always ask
Yeah,
you. I always forget. So every 3 months you have to defend, right?
every
Okay.
3 months. Yeah.
Okay, but obviously last time it was still considered like you kept with the defense even though it wasn't official on the line.
Yeah.
So you have to go back to the next 3 months again. Is that it?
Yeah, so this, I was gonna wait the 3 months, but I'm just ready to get in there and defend it. So next week I'm actually going down. It'll be an official title defense against a man named Space Shifter, who's actually undefeated as well. So I see it being a good fight.
Okay, spaceship. Okay, how many fights does he have?
I believe he's 2-0 or 3-0 in the yard. I seen his fights. He's a real tall guy. Taller than me, but everybody's taller than me. So like, he's really good. He has really good striking. His submissions seem okay. I'm not too sure how he is on the ground, so I'm gonna test that for sure. And it's gonna be a good fight.
Okay, and well, I mean, I won't ask you too many details on your game plan there. Maybe after a fight,
Yeah, for
but
sure, for sure. I
not
can't
before.
never give too much of my secrets.
Yeah. And so basically, when you go there, like the experience so far, how has it been? Because I see that you brought a friend of yours with you, right? Or like a
Yeah,
teammate, if you're from your gym. Yeah.
yeah. I brought my friend. I brought my friend with me, Emmanuel Pugh, but he goes at Midnight, and he trains at a gym not too far from mine, like Cologne MMA. So I brought him on. He's like, man, he's like, I don't know if I want to do it. I'm just like, hey, man, worst comes to worst, you go out there, you win, go out there, you lose. And he goes out there, the first fight, dominates the guy, just elbows. But they ruled it a no contest because there was a couple of illegal shots, but they still put it as a win on his record. Second guy he fights, he's like, you know what, I'm not gonna go to the same thing again. Head kicks him into like oblivion, and the guy just like falls from grace. You see him just like slowly, he's unconscious by the time the head kick hits him. And then
Okay. So you were telling us about the when your friend went to fight at the Street Beast.
yeah, so like I said, in the first fight, what I'm saying, he goes out there, dominates. But there was a couple of shots that was questionable where they said he landed some illegal elbows. So they rule it a no contest. Second fight, it goes out to they end up filling our process, hits him with a few clean shots, and then he throws like the quickest head kick probably in like the history of Street Breeze and like knocks the guy out cold. And you see the
Okay.
guy gets up like, what happened? It was just like super dope. So he's gonna be fighting with me again this upcoming next weekend too. So it'll be pretty cool.
And I sent a post that Scarface seemed really happy with like you and your friend, like.
Oh yeah, like Scarface is like hyping us up. He's like, man, these are two guys to watch out for: Reckless Rico and Midnight Warrior. I'm just like, heck yeah. So hopefully, next time out, you know what I mean. We could both bring back home a belt. I'll be the 145-pound champion. He'll be the 165-pound champion.
So here's the thing, though, because I noticed, like, at some point I was watching some, like, a while back, I did see some Street Beef MMA fights, and now what I'm seeing is the level of it seems to be changing. Like, the level
Yeah.
of MMA, Street Beef. So I was wondering, like, what do you think? Like, do you think, like, people who kind of want to try it out, but they might not be, like, even blue belt level, like, in the grappling, or they just want to try, do you think there's any attempt to make it like fair matching, or it's kind of just like, well, if you show up and you didn't have a beef with someone, we'll just match you up with whoever's there? How does it work exactly behind the scenes?
So as far as like what it works, I mean, originally a couple of years ago when Street Beast was still getting hotter, just in recent years, it was mostly like guys who didn't train, just guys coming off the street and fighting and stuff like that, essentially. But like now, like Street Beast now, like everybody's training, everybody's like fought at some point in time, or like guys that are in the gym training but they haven't fought yet and they got that itch to like make their debut, so they're getting experience out there. Like so, all the guys now at Street Beast, there's like I want to say out of all the guys fighting now, say like maybe 95% actually training, maybe 5% are like guys that don't train, are just like coming off the street and fighting. So like when it comes to matchup, they always like weigh you in. They always like pair you up with you and the guy they think that's close to your weight, and they'll weigh you in just to be accurate with it. And then they always ask you your experience, like, hey, like, do you have any wrestling experience, any boxing experience, any karate experience, like beforehand? They'll ask both the guys, and if they don't, they'll match them up. They'll match them up that way based on experience in it. If they had any fights, that way it's not a fair fight. You're not going out there, getting completely demolished by like somebody that's been like maybe like a former pro fighter, a former UFC fighter for like a half a decade ago. You know what I mean? So they always like do like fair matching and stuff like that, as far as like the weight and the experience and stuff.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's good, because I couldn't help but notice, like, with people like you now going there, and it's kind of like the format is changing, like it's becoming another level of expertise in fighting, because like, used to be, I saw some videos, and I'm never gonna name names, but I was like, okay, these people have never, like, they just watched it, because you see they're attempting what they saw, but they don't know how to make the movement, and then suddenly I see your fights, I'm like, okay, this is something different now.
Yeah, man, I felt like each fight, from my first fight against Native Warrior to like my last fight against Carlos, the level of the guys are just getting so gradually better, and I'm just like, man, I know eventually I'm gonna meet that guy that's my equal, and he's gonna give me like probably like the toughest fight of my life. Because each guy I fight, they're like slowly getting better. They're like it's like building bricks. Like each brick is like each level, they're just getting better and better and better. And I like that. I appreciate as a martial artist, I like that a lot, because I'm always trying to test myself. I don't want an easy fight. I want to know that I went out there, I gave my best, win, lose, or draw, that it was a good fight, and I just followed my heart out.
Yeah. And what I find interesting, okay, so I don't know if we mentioned in our previous video together, but I think it has to do, like, the way it works, it has to do with the laws of the state that Street Beefs is in, where if people agree to have a fight, they just can do it, and that's not a problem. So okay, so because it's not safe, they don't need a license for it in that sense. Is that it?
They actually, so I was talking to Scarface about that, because I know it's like not necessarily like sanctioned, but they do have license and insurance for the event, just in case anything goes on. That's the only reason why like the cops don't ever come, or like that nobody shuts it down for being illegal, because they do have a license and stuff like that. Okay. So it is legal for them to do that. I was like, oh, learn something new.
No, I knew it was legal. That, to make that clear, I just didn't know like the logistics of it, like because like obviously if someone wants to start like a fighting organization, normally it's a lot of bucks, but I think in the sense that you have to pay fighters and all, but because Street Beast is kind of like people who want to test themselves, it gives them that leeway to be legal, to do it. Yeah. And what I thought was really cool, actually, in a way, because people can kind of do what they want in that sense. Like, what I thought was really cool, I saw recently a wheelchair boxing match. That was really
Yeah,
cool. Uh,
yeah, that was super fun. I actually watched that. I didn't watch it live in person, but I watched it on the
okay,
video,
yeah.
and I was like, man, you're giving people who might not necessarily even have like physical abilities or disabilities to be able to go out there, and you still give them a chance to live their dream and fight. So I thought that was really awesome for Street Beast to be able to do that.
Yeah, no, for sure. And it just told me like what I find in Street Beast, and I don't know how much it'll be explored, but I think it will because you like they were talking about having like group MMA fights at some point. I don't know, team MMA fights. I'm gonna go through that, but I know they're talking about it, and I was thinking even like I don't know, for example, let's say like two people want to do an MMA match, but in the gi, or stuff like that. Like I think it gives that opportunity that they can kind of do what they want. They don't have to go with the strict formula of the mainstream rules. Like people can kind of show up. Oh, we want to do this fight, but we want to wear the gi. No, whatever. I don't know. This
Yeah.
it seems like it opens doors, right, for originality or just doing stuff out of the box.
Yeah, I seen recently they having a jiu-jitsu tournament in September, and they're giving out I think it's $300 for first place and then $100 for second place. It'll be a combat jiu-jitsu tournament. I'm like, I'm definitely signing up for that one. Yeah.
So, Combat Jiu-Jitsu, the Eddie Bravo rule set, right?
Correct. Yeah, so it's just like open palm hand strike. You know what I'm saying? Why? Like you can either TKO them off the open
Yeah.
palm hand strike, so you can like submit them when they open up from you hitting them. So that'd be pretty cool.
Yeah. You gotta go the Bas Rutten way, like with that side, like not
Yeah,
slap.
like hit them like
Not,
wow.
not, you know what's funny? The funniest thing to me in the combat jiu-jitsu, I don't know if it happened more than once. I saw it at least once. There was this dude who got so carried away, and I don't think he did MMA before. He was a jiu-jitsu guy. He was so carried away with the idea, like, oh, I can strike now. They were standing, and he actually slapped the dude standing.
Oh
And
my
it's like,
god! Like what is this?
it's like, okay, you're ready for MMA, I think.
Yeah, I just like all right. Like I was not expecting this.
Hmm. Oh my god, that was kind of funny because it was so like you can just tell the guy just got carried away and just like smacked him standing, and you're like, you're supposed to wait.
Yeah. Like hold on, pause.
Yeah. So when is that? The combat jiu-jitsu, you're gonna try to be part of it, right?
Yeah, it's September 26th.
Number 26.
Yes, sir.
And your next MMA fight is when?
August 1st, so next Saturday. Yes, sir. Yeah,
I'll
I've
get
been
him.
training already. Yeah, I'm like in the best shape of my life right now, so I'm ready to go.
I hope so. So, and those are in the, of course, the you have to see them live. You have to be part of the Street Beefs Facebook group.
Great.
Okay, and then they upload them to YouTube.
Yeah, usually they'll go live on a Facebook page or they'll go live stream on like YouTube, and then they'll shortly after that the videos are posted and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the guy who edits the videos, Esteban, he's usually pretty good at like if the fights are that day, he'll upload it like later that evening or like the next day, so it'll be on YouTube, ASAP.
Good. And so okay, so you're gonna have a fight, and then next week you're having another fight. I mean, that's gutsy, man.
Well, next weekend is just the one fight, and then the week after that, I'm just chilling for a few weeks until like at least like they announce like the next like Street Beast event or maybe till like the jiu-jitsu tournament come up. Take some time, a little vacation to myself.
Wait, was it 1 week between, or did I get confused there?
You talk about for next weekend or this weekend?
No, because you're doing the jiu-jitsu tournament and.
Yeah, no, the jiu-jitsu tournament's not till September.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
There it is.
I'll take more coffee. So, okay, here's the thing that happened I don't know if you, I mean, I imagine, but in the state of New York, because of everything that happened with the cops and all that, they've come with some, and you're a jiu-jitsu guy, so I want to talk about this with you because you've been doing the marches, and you do grappling, you do MMA, so you're aware of like grappling, striking. It's been talked about a lot in New York, at least. They're coming up with some new rules that, because of what happened, that it was a blood choke, even though it was like a knee on the neck, it was really different. But because of that, they're saying, oh, cops cannot sit on someone anymore. They cannot choke someone anymore. And there's a real fear that that's going to lead to cops, if they want to restrain someone, they can't just be on top of them or whatever. Now they have to resort to stuff they really shouldn't. It's
Yeah.
all or nothing, basically. So, what are your thoughts on that?
I mean, considering like the whole thing with George Floyd, I mean that was such a tragic, event. It was like 8 minutes and 46 seconds. The cop was on his knee and cutting off the circulation, and that's how tragically led to his death. So with that, being said, I really feel like cops, before it even gets to that point or even escalated, cops should really just take the standard procedures, as cops, and not go to such lengths and extensions as far as like killing somebody and taking somebody's life like that. You know what I mean? Like as you've seen, in the reports and everything, as far as like on social media, like those cops all been arrested and fired and facing like several charges, and stuff like that. But I mean, if a cop you knew like basic self defense or jiu-jitsu, they wouldn't have to resort to such excessive force like that.
Except that's not. I think the thing that people are missing, I think, and that pisses me off, is
Yeah.
that the guy who did it. It's not like it's not. Oh, chokes are obviously this thing that shouldn't be done. Like it's the guy had bad intentions. That was a bad man with bad intentions, and no matter what tool you gave him, he would have found a way to be bad. Like that
Yeah.
was obviously an evil man who did that. And now what happens is kind of like because that evil man who shouldn't have had that job by now because it wasn't even the first time he did something like that. Because of
Yeah.
that, you're removing those like let's say a couple is trained in jiu-jitsu, he can't even use those tools now. Let's say the guy's like
Mhm.
he's dealing with someone who's drunk, just wants to like okay calm down, like just wants to control him. Like now he can't. It's almost like do what I say, please, or else I have to like tase you or hit you with a baton. Like it makes no sense. It's like all or nothing now, and it's I think it's catastrophic because it doesn't allow for any um, just controlled control of the situation, just control. It's like because I think when you're hitting someone, there's no more control. It's just like there's no more control. You're just gonna hurt someone, and that's it. It's not about
Yeah.
controlling them anymore. It's about putting them down. To what degree it depends, but so I feel like you have these lawmakers who are like who looked at it and they're like, oh, choke's bad. Don't choke, don't sit on someone. And then it's like, okay, so what are the other options then? Like you really think that like electrocuting someone is the right idea? Like you think
Yeah.
like spraying someone when they might have respiratory issues? Like these are just things that really worry me because it's almost like the wrong lessons are being learned. Like when people kind of do things to, oh look, I don't know, man. It's like they do little things that make no sense, and it's not a real change that should have been there, right?
Yeah.
It I don't know. It's just it worries me. It worries me because like jiu-jitsu people. I've always been saying like learn grappling. That will allow you to but what the guy wasn't doing wasn't grappling. He was just like, he was doing like the knee on the throat. That's not grappling. That's just
Mm.
torture. It's just,
Yeah. It's just I'm watching the video, man, just several times. It's just so tragic just to have that washing to him or anybody. You know what I mean? And it's not even because he was a person of color or anything like that. For me, it just no one's. You could have saved somebody's life if you just maybe did something less excessive, or maybe just put him in handcuffs, let him go. You could have put him in the car a lot quicker. Like, why was he down there for so long? Why was it a whole 8 minutes of standing on his neck? Why wasn't he in the car within like the first 30 seconds or a minute? You know what I mean? There was so many other different alternative routes they could have did different, but they chose that, and it's just really heartbreaking. You know what I mean?
but the thing is that like, I want to emphasize that man was a really evil man, and the problem is that he should have lost his job, but he didn't because there's a whole background of him doing stuff like that. So basically, the
Yeah.
problem is, hey, look, a man like that, how come he was still a cop? That's a real question. How come that guy who
Mm-hmm.
does that is still a cop? And instead of addressing that, it's like, oh look, we arrested the dudes next to him, which yes, also that, yes. And oh, we banned the choke. It's like, no, you didn't really do change. You didn't change anything. You just if anything caused more harm now. Like on paper,
Yeah.
maybe some people think you did good, but you didn't do good. You just did the bare minimum to look good to whoever's
Exactly.
uneducated in fighting. That's yeah.
That's pretty much it. They're doing it for the eye of the public. So like, so like the media can get off their back pretty much. But and that it doesn't help bring back George Floyd or several dozens of other people that have been through the same thing.
Yeah.
We just have to change as people, and we had to change the police. You know what I mean? There's so many dirty cops you don't hear about. There's so many police brutalities you don't hear about that's been covered up and hidden and nobody talks about because out of fear or what the cops might do to them. But we just got to stand up. We got to stand up for better justice and equality as people.
Yeah. Well, you can, like, if you know when they say like, oh, there are good cops, and I think there's all levels. Like life is complex, and you have like gray areas, and like I think some people might try to do more good in the system, but to some level, like I don't think anyone can be completely squeaky clean in the sense that you see those who really follow the rules, who really follow protocol. You see like they got fired. It happens like you see. And I don't mean to say I know the story behind everything. Of course not. But what I noticed is that apparently the system that's in place for people who wanna follow the rules doesn't reward that. That's the reality that I've seen. And but to keep it to fighting, I guess, and martial arts, it's just discouraging to see that tools that are better for this kind of situation are removed. And then, like, it's kind of like, you're training jiu-jitsu, you're training grappling, you know how to restrain someone. Well, you can't do that now. Just do what the other dude who never works out, never fights, never does anything, never spars. He's just gonna like take out the taser and tase anyone in sight, and you have to do the same now. Anyway, just yeah, that's my rant. Basically, it's just this thing happened, and earlier I was kind of saying, oh, maybe it'll lead to good things, but it's almost like they never ask the people who know about this stuff. They never really like they should go talk to, I don't know, man, Marines, just like anyway. Just yeah, like it's a shame because it's really any grappling art gives you so many options in how you want to deal with a situation. It really does, and it's man, and yeah, sorry about that. That was a long rant of mine, but it's
No,
just
you're fine.
yeah, it's just I didn't even see the full video. I couldn't, man. I don't know, got choked up,
Yeah.
When a man cries for his mother and all that, yeah. And then
Yeah.
it's kind of like you have these pencil pushers. They're like, oh, that's the problem there. No, that wasn't the problem. The problem was like that you have a system where that man was still a cup, Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Anyway. Yeah. So, Rico, tell me. Right now you're with Street Beefs. Do you have any to change the mood and all that? Do you have any other projects or goals right now when it comes to fighting sports?
When it comes to projects and other stuff like that, my goal is to still, fight amateur MMA and for jiu-jitsu, I still want to win a world championship at IBJJF. I was going to do it this year, but they canceled like all the major events, so I would be happy just to get back into like a little local tournament or anything like that. So that's still one of my goals to still be the number one best in the world in both sports and jiu-jitsu and MMA. So I'm just still pushing for that goal. And with Street Beefs, I get to perform on that platform and get my name out there and exposure. That way everybody knows who I am. So when in the upcoming years, when they see me on the big screen, they already know who I am and hopefully support and be along with the journey. You know what I mean? Because everybody starts from something. You know what I mean? And I'm starting right here from this is the beginning of my journey, and I'm gonna just keep on going to it's gonna be the end of my journey. So this is it right here, the reckless era.
Yeah, and you got like fighters like Masvidal who started pretty much like they just okay, let's go for internet, for the views, let's do this, and now they're like making banks, and yeah, even that UFC 4 game, which I don't think it looks particularly good, but I thought it was interesting how they had this octagon that was kind of like that's kind of Street Beefy, like.
Yeah, they're like a lot of people saying they like stole the idea from Street Beefs, how they like in the backyard with the cage. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
to give the benefit of the doubt, I guess like the fighting system in that game, they have to take into account the octagon, so they couldn't just do an open yard. They had to put something. Maybe it wasn't like on purpose, but I was like, that's very street beef. Like it looked very. So, IBJJF, are they doing small tournaments right now? Is that what they doing? Or?
No, IBJJF, they cancel like all the events. So any other like small tournaments, local tournaments going on, it's like maybe like New Breed, Naga, grappling industry, stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I know that recently, I don't know if you know about her. I had in my previous episode, I had the Jiu-Jitsu grandma, Elaine. I don't know if you know about her. She's this 71-year-old blue belt, and she went to a tournament recently, right after the day after the episode we did. So I don't know which organization it is, but there are like Jiu-Jitsu tournaments going on. Yeah.
You know what area she was in?
Damn it. Can't recall, because even if I remember, like right now I'm having a blank as to where she's from, and even then it doesn't mean that the tournament was there, right? She could have. No, in fact, she was driving there. I remember. So it wasn't where she lives. So
probably close within a few hours or something.
I don't remember, but yeah, it's kind of funny, like amateur fighting, and where it's kind of like you want to do it, and you kind of have to shelve the bucks to do it. Like even like you have to drive there, and it's almost like you really have to want to do it, right? Because you're driving a long time to get there, and sometimes you show up there, you don't know how long you'll be there. How long, like if you win or lose, you have to pay the gas. You have to just do the trip, take the day off if you need to. Like it's just it's interesting because. I don't know if there are any amateur organizations that actually pay people to show up, or how does it work in amateur MMA?
So amateur MMA, they legally can't pay you. So like the money you would make would be off like the ticket sales. Like that'd be like your compensation that way.
Okay.
And they usually give you a percentage of the tickets you make.
Okay. So there's like a system where if you do amateur MMA, in some places they'll let you have part of the ticket sales.
Yeah, majority of them are like that. You sell a certain amount of tickets and you get like 10-20% of it, whatever the ticket amount you sold and stuff like that. So in a way, like they can't pay you, but you're making money back that way in a sense.
But I have to believe now that you're Street Beast champion, like next time you do an event with ticket sales, which I know right now it's iffy, but next time it happens, right? Like I imagine you might get a full house.
Yeah, definitely saw that. But like, oh, Reckon Rico from Street Beast? Oh yeah, we're definitely going.
Yeah, like I saw on YouTube,
Oh yeah, watch people choking me. Like it's crazy because back home, it's like so many people love me and like support me here. You know what I mean? Like so as like the first video went out, you know what I'm saying? Everybody's like, oh, what? No way! Like even my coach is like, oh, dude, I'm proud of you. He's like, I've been watching Street Beast for like years on end. You know what I mean? Because I thought I would get like a lot of backlash and criticism, but no, I just got nothing but like love, support. People hitting me up, talking about, yo, that's cool. I gotta come with you. I want to watch. Like, man. So there's been nothing but love and support for like the whole journey with Street Beast. So I'm just grateful and blessed for that.
Yeah, there's something very old school martial arts about it, isn't there? Like very old school. Like you just go test your skills, and there's like, what's the reward there? Well, you got to test your skills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's like the old school. You know what I mean? I mean, I just love fighting in general, no matter where I'm at. You know what I mean? So for me, that's true fighting for me. Despite it being in somebody's backyard per se, I mean, I'm still fighting another probably trained person. I'm still going out there. We're still fighting, throwing each other, throwing punches at each other, trying to submit each other, trying to knock them out. Still trying to go out there and hurt each other. So for me, that's the best form of fighting.
Well, don't get me wrong though. Like I want to be clear on one thing. Like right now, you're building your name, you're building your rep, and you're also building your skill set. But there comes a time when you should. Obviously, I want to be clear about that because I've even made episodes about fighter pay being important. Like there's a time like now you're kind of like building your resume, right? It's kind of like being an intern in a company or something. But there comes a time when, yeah, like don't do it for free. You know what I mean? Like obviously get paid. You know,
Yeah.
like I think
Yeah.
there's yes, there's honor in doing it for the love of the game or the love of the martial art or whatever you want to call it. But also you can't do it forever. So make sure that you make the choices that will, you know, that will pay off long term. That's also like because it's kind of contradictory, right? Like it's very there's this romantic view of the martial arts where oh you do it for
Mhm.
the passion for free, but also if you choose to be a prize fighter, like also get paid. You know, like like
Yeah.
that's important.
Yeah, for sure. Money is always a big thing, and then because of out of all the cuts and bumps and bruises you get, there are hospital bills, but beneath that, if people don't take the time to look into, so and you gotta pay those bills. Some type of how still a normal person still gotta pay NIPSCO, your water, your sewage, your house, your rent, your gas, your food. So being a fighter, when we make money like that, it helps pays those things, towards those things. So
Not to get political about it, and but me, I'm Canadian, so in Canada, like when I go train, I never have to worry about oh, if I get hurt in training, how will I pay my bill? You know, like it's kind of taken care
mhm.
of with government taxes. So, but that's another thing. It's true. Like in the U.S., like if you're fighting, that's kind of like the career where you're sure to get hurt, and then getting hurt means bills. So that's you know actually yeah, and well, I don't want to get too much into it, but yeah, I do think that it's kind of crazy that in the U.S., like fighters coming up also have to think about that. It just
Yeah,
occurred to me that it's that extra level of worry in a way. It's
yeah.
mm.
Mhm.
Let me tell you one thing. It's when life is normal, you take things for granted, and I was always thinking I'll do a smoker someday or something, but I just have to get in shape, and I was always like saying, and now that I can't, I'm like, oh man, when everything goes back to normal.
Yes, for sure.
uh, okay, Rico. So, well, first of all, as always, thank you for coming to the show. And where can people find you online?
You can follow me on Instagram at the phenom underscore Rico Tally. You can also add me on Facebook at Rico Tally. I'm always down to make new friends and just hit me up. Feel free to ask me anything.
Very well. Rico, thanks a lot, and good luck on your next fight, man.
Thank you, brother. Until next time.